I am here today with Janet Crawford from My Sister's Choice. It's a home companion care service. Today we're going to talk about all the different options that My Sister's Choice provides. So welcome, Janet.
Thank you, Steve.
Great to have you here. This is important information for somebody who has a senior in their life, and I think everybody's really going to have to pay attention here. So we ready to go? So first of all, tell me a little bit about your background and how you got involved in My Sister's Choice.
I worked for many years in the nonprofit world, and my career was coming to a close, and my sister became very ill, and I spent 2 years caring for her and learned a lot about the industry.
Mm-hmm.
My son, who you see in the picture to the left of my sister, is in the center, and my son is would it be left or right?
Right here. This is your son, I guess.
Yes.
That doesn't look like a son.
Correct.
Yes.
And we cared for her, and I learned a lot about companion and personal care and the kinds of things that were involved. I retired and decided that I would start a personal care and companion care company to honor my sister and those people who helped to care for her.
This is your sister in the middle.
My sister in the middle.
And those who don't know her, Janet is on the right, looking very debonair. So some people move to Florida and play golf and bridge, and some people start new companies. Good for you. But it's important. So tell us what's your core mission?
The core mission is to provide care for seniors in their homes so that they can live independently and they can retain the dignity and respect that they've had all their lives.
Excellent. Okay, so you have goals. These are not really business goals. These are really service providing goals.
Yes.
So let's talk about these. Home care. This is what creates the independence. But what else? There's intangibles. So tell me about them.
Well, when I began the company and when I was caring for my sister, I felt that the care was by far and above the most important thing that was happening, and we needed to also bring peace of mind to seniors. My sister was much more comfortable with caregivers who were cognizant of her state of mind and what made her comfortable. And also to provide all kinds of resources, because I didn't know what I didn't know at the time. And I like to be able to provide those kind of resources, or at least links to them, for the seniors for whom we care.
Okay. And your business is a member of is this a national organization?
It's a national organization, and it provides information and resources for the owners.
Okay, excellent. So really what's happening here is obviously directly you're caring for the individual, but there's so much other dynamic because you may have a family member in another state or they just can't be there every day, and you want them to feel comfortable as well.
Absolutely.
I got to think, fortunately I'm not there yet, but I got to think this is a difficult decision in someone's life.
It's
and
very
possibly
difficult.
The seniors are going to resist it because they've been independent for 70, 80, whatever years. So walk me through when this decision might be made to bring care in and why it's important.
The seniors are, and I'm pretty close myself. The seniors
You don't
are.
look it. You don't look it.
Oh, thank you, Steve. The seniors are less able to do what they could do before. It's very difficult to come to that realization, and the children are providing care and often have full-time jobs or responsibilities that
kids
keep
of their
them.
own. Sure.
Yeah, yeah. So there's some point at which the children and the adult children and the senior decide that it's become overwhelming. And that's when someone contacts us.
Okay. So there may be things that are fairly obvious, like if a person falls, which I think is one of the major, most common issues, unfortunately. But then there may be other kind of gray areas where they're just becoming forgetful, or they're lonely. I mean,
lonely is a very big one, and their ability to walk around, their mobility is often more limited. The medications, the ability to put all that together is harder.
So, and just to be clear, the goal here is to maintain the stability that the person is still in their own home,
Yes.
as opposed to a facility or what have you.
Yes. It could be in a facility. Sometimes, even in a facility, there's need for
Mm-hmm.
more care than it's available there.
Okay, so here's where it all begins,
Yes.
meaning the care.
Hmm.
Um, uh, it- it- the thing that strikes me about this slide is the last piece, which is that who's really in charge here is you want the individuals getting the care to have the sense that it's still their lives, obviously.
Hmm.
Um, so is there some secret to doing that? Is it matching up the person with the right provider? Is that what you call them, a provider, a home care?
Provider, yes. In my former life, one of the things I learned with teenagers who were having difficulties in life is that
Mm-hmm.
if they are in charge and they make the decisions along with those people who support them, they're
Mm-hmm.
much more likely to follow through. And the same is true here, that as a senior, if we're losing our independence and we have choices to make about the kinds of ways we would want to maintain it, we're more likely to feel as though we can continue
So
on.
it's like a walk before you run.
Yes,
So maybe
yes,
you start out by coming in an hour a day. I don't know exactly, and then it goes well. Then you go 2 hours a day, and you progress. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing
correct.
situation when there's a somewhat independent person. From there, you've got multiple services you can provide.
Do.
Companion care means what?
Companion care is everything but personal care. So
Okay,
companion
which is the
care
second one. So we'll get to that, right?
is just shopping and errands and support services that a senior might need
Mm-hmm.
to live comfortably.
As opposed to
Personal
personal
care,
care.
which is a couple of activities of daily living, which are bathing and dressing and eating and things
Okay.
that you need
So that would
to
be
live.
someone with a less, or maybe a more severe medical
Yes,
level.
yes,
Okay. Um, and then you've got the welcome home package, which I guess could be anybody. Maybe you go and you have a procedure at a hospital and you're in bed for 5 or 6 weeks or
correct,
something like that.
correct.
Um, can you take me through kind of like a shift, like you send out a provider,
Hmm.
they show up at your person's house. I mean, just walk me through really briefly what happens. They walk in and they say hello, and then tell me what goes on.
For companion care and personal care,
Yeah, you can combine them.
the provider, the companion, would come in, and we've already done an assessment ahead of time with the
Mhm.
family, and that's how we come up with the care plan. It
Okay.
doesn't look like an assessment; it's just a conversation about what the family and the senior want.
Mm-hmm.
And so it might be making breakfast and then helping them get ready for the day,
Mm-hmm.
and then to go grocery shopping. They might be going to bridge. They might be going line dancing. They might be doing any number of things. So the personal care comes in when you're helping to dress someone, or you
Okay.
have to worry about medications and so forth.
So it centers on the needs of the client, obviously.
Correct. Yes.
And then you've predetermined that, and it might change day to day because people's lives do.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit more about the companion care. Is there a percentile, like 50% of your business is companion care, 25 is one, or
No,
does it just
actually,
depend
it
on
just
your
depends.
caseload at the time?
Yes, and it shifts at
Mhm.
any particular point in
Okay.
time. The only thing I really haven't covered is the safety monitoring, and that's throw rugs in the house, things that where a senior who doesn't quite have the mobility that they did have is likely to
Hmm.
to
So there's
fall.
some physical. Yeah, I know. Like I think because when my kids were little, you're putting like rubber things on the edge of tables.
Yes.
And, stuff like that, and the things on the doors. Like, there's like things that go over the doorknobs, and the things in the outlets. So they don't stick
Exactly.
their finger in an outlet.
Yes. We don't have to do that, but it's those.
But
those
there's
kinds of things.
accommodations you need to be aware of that an
Yes.
untrained person or service may not be,
Yes.
and that's the important thing.
Mhm.
All right, so this is great. Let's come over to here. So here's companionship, and this I think is where you really need a fit.
Yes.
I mean personality.
Yes.
You
Absolutely.
can't just throw anybody with anybody.
The caregivers are enormously important. They are the most important part of the service.
Mm-hmm.
The question I ask always is, why do you do this? What is it that you like about this job? and
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to tell me that they have an appreciation for seniors, and they like to listen and they care about them. And they have the ability to build strong relationships. It can't be just coming in to do the dishes or to make a meal. It has to be that they're matched together, that they have some sort of common ground where they can build a strong relationship, and also that they have the ability to listen.
Mm-hmm.
That they seniors love to tell stories about their lives, and they have to have an ability to listen and participate with the senior, whether it's companion or personal care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think obviously that's critical. And I think if you go back to one of our earlier slides where we're creating peace of mind, you're creating
Yes,
peace of mind.
absolutely.
So if I'm a child of somebody who's receiving this care, I'd like to know the person going in is sort of really a friend more than a technician, if
Yes,
that's the proper vocabulary. I imagine the way people live. You may have people in cases for years.
yes, you
It's not a
can.
day thing. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you may be there weeks, months, years in some cases.
Mm-hmm. Can be.
Hmm. Let's talk specifically. So we actually, I jumped the gun a little bit here. So you got meal planning, food shopping, preparation. These are things I think are kind of keeping the house in order. Um, Interfacing with these sorts of things. This is common provided service, right?
Yes, this is pretty self-explanatory. The only thing that jumps out are the doctor's visits, and a companion is trained to. We have documentation that the companion fills out every day, and this can go with the companion to the doctor's visit.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trained to listen to what the caregiver, to what the
Because they may
senior,
have to come back and translate it
exactly,
to the
because
family, if the
who may
people,
live far
if
away.
they can't be in the
Yes.
visit.
And it goes
Right.
back to the relationship. If they have a relationship with the
Mm-hmm.
senior, then it's something that they know and they can hear and then translate.
Right. And here's some more medication. Now listen, I got to think medication management is important. I mean, not
Yes.
that all of it isn't, but some as people get older, their memory isn't what it used to be. You got medication sometimes multiple times a day.
Oh,
Uh,
it can be multiple times, and it can be different medications
yeah,
multiple times.
you got like a whole laundry list of them.
Yes, we do not give medications. We don't touch the medication. But what we do is manage the. We know when they're due, and we encourage the senior by telling them it's about time. This is here. It's time, and we can give them the pill box and
Mm-hmm.
and monitor it.
Now I'm going to take it. This picture is what you don't want to happen.
Exactly.
This isn't how that you leave a facility, right?
Yes. And sometimes as seniors get older, and before we are
Yeah.
actually in there, there are all kinds of things. Again, the safety and the out-of-date foods that are in the
Mhm.
freezer and the refrigerator, and our
I remember when I was growing up, not to steal your thunder at all, but where my grandmother lived, a woman a couple apartments down set the place on fire because she was cooking something, forgot about it, and the pot physically caught on fire. Like the metal actually melted from the heat of the stove, which set the whole thing on fire, and they had to bring the fire. And it's a high rise. It's a
Awful.
big mess. Yeah,
Yes.
it's big, and it smelled, electrical stuff. This I found very intriguing.
this
Because
is the fun part.
this is a quality of life thing.
Yes.
This is a quality of life piece. I mean, there's kind of the mechanical parts where obviously people need to get around and they need the physical stuff and they need the companionship. But this is to me taking it to another level.
Yes.
This is saying, hey, let's create more quality in your life. So tell me about this here.
Well, these are pretty self-explanatory, except for the one at the bottom, restoring a garden. We had a woman who wanted to play bridge. Her daughter didn't have the time to take her. So in the care plan was going to play bridge, and the other was at her garden. She loved her rose garden, but it died because she wasn't able to care for it anymore. And the care plan, the companion helped her to
get it back
get it back because they could physically do the work. The companion could, and they could do it together. The same thing with writing family recipes. My sister did not. She had all this information in her head, and we tried to get it down. but it just didn't work. So one of the things that I like to see the caregivers do is to capture those either recipes or important parts of life, or who the aunts and uncles and anything.
So the great Crawford chicken soup recipe has been lost.
Exactly. Coleslaw it was.
The coleslaw.
Yeah.
I like coleslaw.
Gone.
Yeah, but you know what? That I don't want to trivialize it, because that's, in the end, especially, parents to children, it's a little bit different. But you start to get grandchildren involved and cousins, they don't have that same history with the person.
Yes.
And,
my son and daughter-in-law have said to me after my sister was gone, already now they gave me a diary and said, now you have to write in there and record everything that you know. So now I have this awful task of doing what my sister did.
It's a labor of love. No, you
Yes.
don't say it's an awful task.
Oh, true.
No,
Right.
but you know what? Look, we're all living our lives, and you got 100 other things to do. It's not always, you don't think about this until it becomes almost a need.
Yes.
And this is why I think this is great. So let's talk about you're a resource, right? Not everybody's
Yes.
going to need what you have today. Right?
Correct.
But they may need information. Tell me about this.
The resource and referral, I think I mentioned earlier that when we were caring for my sister, I didn't know what I didn't know. And I finally realized that there were many things that I would have wanted to provide and couldn't, because I didn't know where to find them.
Can you give me an example?
So one was a massage.
Okay.
I didn't even think about, as my sister was so frail and in pain, that there were people who gave massages, and I could
especially
find that.
Trained, I guess.
Especially trained to
style.
do that.
Okay.
Care managers, physicians who are trained for the elderly. They're called geriatricians, who do medicine in a different way.
I'm sure there's a whole legal estate
and right,
planning,
exactly.
that end of it.
And you may
keep going.
You may have an attorney or your own.
That's okay. Go ahead.
You may have your own attorney and your own estate planner, but if you don't, then I have a bevy of resources that I can certainly help the senior find. Also, home ordering, grocery shopping, ways to order over the internet, resources to find, care managers who can talk to the senior about the kinds of needs that they would want, and they can help find.
So these are things, even if somebody doesn't have a need for specific, they might call you and say, hey, can you lead me into the right person?
Yes.
Or the right service, or the right professional.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Because it's probably just getting bigger. As the population ages, and then this becomes more of a need. Okay. So let's start to bring this to a close here. So there's other companies out there.
There are.
You're not the only
many.
one on the block. But one of the things I think you have a sincerity about it, and you have a personal experience that you really can't get anywhere else. So how is your company or your service different?
I think I've covered that, but I would certainly, in summary, is that our caregivers are by far and above connected to the senior. They build relationships. I have done a lot of research and searched for options, trying to find ways to make it the very best for the senior, so that they can retain their dignity and the respect. And so the staff need to be experts, and they need to be able to serve as resources and tools for the family. And they have to be able to have a commitment to the seniors, commitment to the company, and to each other. They need to be highly trained, and they are all certified. And we are we're licensed by the state of Pennsylvania, so we're simply choosing to be the best that we can be. And if we can't do it, if we can't serve you for whatever reason, then we will find someone who can.
Beautiful. For the people out there who may be seeing this, you're based in Pennsylvania. Is there a certain radius? We're in the Philadelphia area, but how far I mean, you're not going to go to Washington. I mean, what's your circle that you can serve
Geographically, we're
Yeah.
located in Montgomery County, but
Okay.
I can bleed over into areas that are close by.
Okay. All right. So, my sister's choice, Janet Crawford. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
I think it's important. This is an important message that it's part of an education because this is a big decision.
Yes, it is.
I mean, I don't think whether they engage your business or not. This is not something somebody should call somebody and 10 minutes later have a caregiver come out.
Absolutely.
Right. And here's how you get a hold of Janet. Her number's on the screen here, 215-646-4580, and there is her email, and by extension, her website. So, in closing, any final messages for your adoring public out here?
I look forward to hearing from you. Your senior is a very valuable person to you, and we would like to provide the care that you expect. Thank you, Steve.
You got it. Everybody have a great day.